Hello, you big, beautiful souls out there. Uh, and we're about to get a huge winter, spring storm with high wind here in the deep forest of Vermont where I live. And so I'm in my favorite sweater and I'm in my office here. Um, I'm here today to talk a little bit about, well, I'm not going to talk about it. Aralamb wants to talk about this April 8th eclipse that's coming up. The reason, and it's funny because when Aralamb brought this up to me a few days ago, he said, I want to give some information about this eclipse. And my first instinct was to say, no, we don't, there's too many people out there talking about it. There's a lot of difficult information and people, it's kind of, it's really pressing people's buttons. Well, in the days leading up to right now, I've had sessions with folks, one-on-one sessions, and people are asking about this. And not only that, but they're asking about how they're feeling energetically. So this was another reason why Aralam wants to speak about this today to you. Um, is because he's been giving people information in the sessions about it, and he wants to talk to you about it. So I was kind of dragging my feet a bit, like, well, we don't need to do that, do we? Because sometimes I'm just like you and I don't want to do anything. I want to sit on the couch and read a good book. And I think anybody listening to this knows that about me by this time. But when Aralam really, really wants to talk about something like this, I usually say, absolutely, let's do that. So with no further ado, Aralamb is here and Aralamb speaking. So welcome viewers. There are many reasons why I want to talk about this April 8th eclipse. And the most specific reason is because if you're a human being on the planet right now and you have a soul, right, you have been over the past probably 4 to 5 weeks been feeling this kind of slow, and in some cases not slow, ramping up of energy. And when I say ramping up of energy, I mean not only emotionally, but psychologically, physiologically. People's sleep has been difficult for them. And as Melissa said, in some of our sessions, people are bringing some of this to the table and asking the why about the symptoms that people are having. The other big issue that I know is happening with pretty much every soul who's alive on the planet now, and that is that in the past, particularly the past 14 Earth timeline days, many human beings with souls on this planet have been having very old information or old hurts. Um, Old challenges, old difficulties that they truly believed they have healed from, coming up with a vengeance. And this can be from childhood, from young adulthood, marriages, breakups, losses, conversations, situations in your lifetime that you really truly thought you had moved away from. And yet here they come. They are suddenly popping up in your mind, popping up in your dreams, coming up for you. Still Aralam speaking. And so the reason that I want to talk to you about this is because many of you have nowhere to go with these conversations. You may not have people in your life that you can say, last night I dreamt about the terrible divorce that I went through 25 years ago, and it felt like it was happening to me today. And this can be a frightening thing, and it can be unnerving, and it can leave you feeling very off balance because you think, why am I rerunning this old conversation in my head again? Why am I doing that today? And I want you to understand that what this is very tied to this particular eclipse that's happening. There are going to be multiple dates in this coming year on Earth, this 2024, all the way through 2030. There are going to be multiple dates where the energetic body of the planet is shifting up so many levels so quickly. It's a big jump. As Melissa would say, rather than small jumps, this is going to be a big jump. And so what's happening is your body, your physical organic body, is asking you right now to let the last vestiges of the pain or the discomfort or the old memories to come up and be released. Because on April 8th, actually, 3 days before that, this Friday, this coming Friday, 2 days from now, is the beginning of this traverse of energy, because this particular eclipse, I am not saying that this eclipse is bringing in some type of Armageddon style energy at all. Okay? I know that there is a lot of talk out there on the web and in the world that is very, very fearful. If you've listened to me speak before, still Aralamb speaking. If you've listened to me speak before, you know that I always give the information that I get from creation. And that information is that these shifts, these changes, this timeline is in the Creator's grasp, and it's meant to be survived by most of the population. And so, April 8th, this particular eclipse, not just for the United States on the planet, but this particular eclipse worldwide, is a time that has been ordained, if you will, where the whole planet is shifting up. So, what the truth is this: once that eclipse happens, the whole of the planet and every species and every living thing upon it is now going to be at this new level of energetic being, right? You're all moving to this new level together, and some of the oldest hurts and pains that you've been holding in your body, those hurts and pains cannot make the transition. They won't go with you. So that's why so much for people, particularly people, have been coming through our sessions who have done so much healing work. And they feel that these situations from their past, they've healed them. So why is this last gasp sort of coming at them now, right? Why is there this fear right now? And it's because your body needs you to finally and fully let go of those things. So whatever is coming up for you, still Aralamb speaking, whatever is coming up for you, let it come up. Look at it, cry that 1 millionth tear over it if you need to, and then truly let it go. Because as this eclipse happens on Monday of this coming week, everyone is going to lift. Whether they're paying attention or not, the energy will be shifted upward levels. This is what's meant to happen. It's going to continue to happen. But this particular shift is a large one. It's a big one. And it feels big. It feels big to the whole planet. Now, the next thing that I would say to you is this. Keep in mind that the energy of this is, and I talked with someone yesterday in a session about this, still Aralamb speaking. The energy of this particular shift that's happening on the eclipse, it would be as if you were on a raft energetically and you're in the well of the wave. This starts on Friday. This energy begins on Friday of this week. And so what will be happening is, if you're on a spiritual raft, say, if the whole earth is, the well of that is going to start raising, just as though you're coming up a wave. You know you're in the ocean, and that wave begins to pull you up like this. The difference is, in the 3 days before the eclipse, everything and everyone is going to be shifting up in that way. When the eclipse happens, you'll meet the crest, but there won't be a crash of the wave back down to the energy level that was. You're going to stay up here at this new energy level. Now, immediately when that happens, the whole of the planet and everything that exists on it will no longer be able to hold on to what was down here in the well, where we are sitting now, where you are sitting, where Melissa is sitting energetically now, and any of you listening, you're here. By the time Tuesday morning comes around for the whole planet, and that Monday is complete, everyone's going to be up here. And so the reason that I say this to you is because I don't want anyone to move into this in fear. Go ahead and feel the feelings over this coming weekend that come to you. Feel them. And as I said, cry the 1 millionth tear. Even if you feel as though this is long gone in my history, I've cried and cried and cried over this. How can I finally how am I still feeling pain around this situation? Go ahead and cry the 1 millionth tear, because once you've done that and you make the shift on Monday, right? The whole planet is moving up in this way. You will never cry another tear about that, because you're going to feel differently about it. Everything in your life will be changing frequency a bit. Now, I understand the fear around this. I also understand that there is a certain biblical piece to this. And as you know, if you've studied my work, Still Aralamb speaking, or read the book or listened to anything that I say, the religious texts, whether it's the Bible, the Quran, Buddhist texts, whatever it is, there is a lot of truth in the timelines of those texts. But hear me when I say this. Again, these changes that are happening on planet Earth now, in this shifting that's going on, it is not meant to end the Earth physically or the species of humanity. What it's meant to end is the old way of looking, doing, and being on the planet. Do you see? Because the analogy would be this: if you're standing in a dark room and it's all you know and it's blackness, it's a dark room, there could be a perfectly good chair to sit down in right next to you, but because there's no light on, you don't see the chair. The minute a light comes on, you suddenly see the chair and realize, oh, I can sit down or I can do things differently in this space. And so this is what's happening. It's happening spiritually for your body. It's happening organically for your body. It's happening psychologically in your mind. It's happening intellectually for your thinking mind. So this shift is happening across the plane of reality. Now, the very best way for you to make this shift is to not be afraid that you're not going to make the shift. The feeling for the mass, the bulk of humanity, whether someone is looking at their spiritual growth or they are not, there is this feeling right now, particularly among those who are on the spiritual growth path. You are into the healing. You're looking at your soul. You're looking to see who you are in the universe. There's this feeling that you may somehow inadvertently miss the boat. I gave an example to a client yesterday and said, listen, emotionally, spiritually, and psychologically, many of you are almost feeling as though these shifts that are happening, this growth of the planet, you feel as though you're running through an airport. You know you're not going to miss your plane, but there's a fear that it's going to be close. So let me say this to you. You are not going to miss the shift. You're not going to be sitting missing the shift, because regardless of where you are in your journey, regardless of where you are in your journey, the earth is transitioning and you will go with it. Now, if you are looking at the transition, if you're looking and asking the questions, these transitions will be easier for you, right? Because you won't be in fear around them. You won't be necessarily also taking in all of the worst case scenarios around the shift that are being put out there. Now, Aralamb still speaking. There is no judgment whatsoever on biblical scholars, on psychics, on mediums, on other channels. Anyone who has information that they're bringing forward about this eclipse or the change time that we're in, it's all information. But what I would say to you is understand that if it's fearful information, then you're still going to make the transition, but you'll be afraid while you're doing it. So why take that in? It sounds simple, but it's true, okay? So honor your body at this time. Honor your emotions at this time. Understand that you're going to begin to feel this shifting on Friday during the day, regardless of where you are on the planet. So some of you are already going to be feeling it on Thursday, obviously, right? It's going to be coming around and you're going to start to feel it. And think of it like this again. I'm going to repeat this analogy. You're on a wonderful spiritual raft and you're in the well of the wave, the well of the wave. So you're at the lowest part of the wave. This is where all of humanity is sitting right now. Everyone all together, including the planet Earth, animals, everything on Earth, is getting ready over the next 4 or 5 days to start to traverse up the wave. But when you get to the crest of the wave, there won't be a time where you go back down. Everyone's going to be here again. And also, still Aralamb speaking, there will be time, once this eclipse goes by, there will be a time of homeostasis. There will be a time when, yes, you may feel a bit out of your element. You may feel that things are moving quickly. You may feel that you can't sleep. You may feel that something has happened and it's a little bit frightening, but you don't have to be frightened. What's going on this planet is happening in its exact interval. And I've spoken before in sessions with people. The idea that every time, and you may have heard this on my YouTube video, every time that our timeline gets shifted away from where it wants to be for you, it gets shifted back by the creation, because you, as a group with the planet, are meant to do this positive shifting. Now, finally on this, I will say this to you. You are not out of your timeline. You are not out of your timeline. If you are a seeker, if you are listening to this now, you are not out of your timeline. I want you to understand that you will not be left behind. You do not have to be in connection with your spiritual gifts. You do not have to be a guru. You do not have to be learned. You do not have to understand everything about spirituality. You can be starting and being anywhere on the planet, whether you believe or you do not believe, if you're an atheist, if you're a Christian, whatever your belief system is, you are a soul who is connected through your soul directly to creation. This is a non-malleable law. It is the law. So you cannot be left behind. You will not miss it. Now, still Aralamb speaking. The final thing I would say is this. This eclipse time, and there have been many eclipses, and there are many eclipses every year in history. There have always been them. This time, however, it happens to coincide with this amazing kind of big shift. There hasn't been a shift this big in very many decades on planet Earth, in Earth time, very many decades. Now, the year 2024 to 2030, there are going to be many different shift times, and I will most likely be speaking about those moving forward because I think this will be helpful for people to stay out of fear. So as you move through this weekend, please stay out of fear, and please understand that any of the pain or negativity that's coming up, it's about your body cleansing itself so that it will be that much easier for you to get from the well of this wave to the new crest, this new place that everyone's going to be, as Melissa would say, parked at, okay? And so the final thing is this. Any of you who are struggling with physical impairment, physical disease, physical pain, anything physically that has been a real trial to you, still Aralamb speaking, as these shift times happen, every time that you settle after a shift time, your ability to heal is going to get better and better and better. And I'm going to do a particular video on that healing process. But this is another piece of this, because as humanity and the planet keeps shifting upward in dimension, in electrogravimetrical dimension, everything on planet Earth begins to be able to heal more and more and more. Okay? So this is another piece of this. Thank you for listening. And I want to thank Melissa because, as she said, she didn't want to do this. Okay, so that's Aralamb. I'm laughing because I'm in my favorite woods here, and I was like, okay, let's do this thing. Let's do this thing. So all of that information that Aralamb just shared, as he said, he has shared this over the past few weeks with people because people have been struggling a little bit with this, and I've been struggling with it. And I said to Aralamb, you know, I've had things come up for myself and said to him, why am I reliving this emotional crazy right now? This is so old, and I've not thought about this in 30 years. Why is that painful conversation coming up now? Why am I? And you know how we do this. When you have something like that, it's like you're in the conversation again, or you'll have the argument again, and you feel it all. And I said to him, why is this happening for me? Why is this happening for other people? And this is when he started talking about the eclipse on the 8th. It also was really helpful to me because he said this to someone in a session, and he hadn't said it to me, which happens sometimes. And anybody that's had a session that's listening to this, they'll know that this happens to me, where I will hear something in someone's session, and the session will end, and I'll say to Aralamb, well, you never told me that. And he'll say, because you never asked me, right? So I'm human like everyone else here. So, but the other piece of this that was so interesting to me was that this is gonna that this wave of energy is gonna start sort of in the 3 days beforehand. So keep that in your mind because I know that knowing that for me is huge because then I can sort of be like, okay, this is maybe why I'm feeling overtired. This is why I'm feeling a little frazzled. This is why I don't want to answer the phone. I don't want to go to lunch with 15 of my friends. Like maybe this is why, because I want to be calm and stable and just looking at what's going on. So, all of that being said, it is wonderful to talk to you all again. And I feel as though I probably don't do enough of these videos with Aralamb. And I'm going to, on my bucket list here, is that I'm going to try to have Aralamb because he has a list of things he'd like to talk about. And it's usually just me kind of being human and like just not doing it. So I'm making my pledge here that I'm going to have Aralamb be talking to you about a lot of other things. And there are new things coming up. But anyway, for this eclipse, everybody, love the people around you. If you don't have a lot of people around you to talk about this with, just keep out of fear. Keep out of fear. And the other beautiful part of this, because I get this once in a while, is you don't have to be afraid that you're going to somehow miss this shift and find yourself being left behind. That's not how this is working. And Aralam has confirmed that over and over and over and over. So I love that. And I love all of you who are listening and enjoy your weekend. And thank you so much, you guys. Thank you so much.